I'm a patriot. This is a tribute to my country and my countrymen.
Okay, I'll start. I'm Canadian.
A Canadian.
I am a Canadian. Yes, Canadian.
Canadian.
From Canada, huh?
Where are you from?
I'm from Canada.
Ah, a gentleman from Canada.
Oh, from Canada, huh? Oh, what a place, Canada. They started a country and nobody showed up.
I'm Canadian. He Canadian and he Canadian.
Canadian. Shit.
Why'd you go to Canada?
To Canada?
First place you land, you go. Canada.
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 Canada. Canada.
Canada?
Yeah, it's up north.
Canada?
Canada.
She's not interested in all that horse manure about Canada.
Of course she's interested.
You remember Canada?
Canada.
Yes, Canada.
Canada.
Canada. I've been to Canada.
Thousands of kilometers away from
I know it
home.
quite well. It lies next to the United States.
You see, the thing is, sir, I want to be a Canadian more than anything.
I appeal to you as a fellow American.
But I'm Canadian.
You don't look it.
It's a common mistake.
American, are you? No, Canadian. Oh, Canadians are American, aren't they?
He's Canadian. They're not the same as Americans. They're nicer.
I always think of Canadians as just nice.
We're not nice, we're optimistic. There's a difference.
Right.
And we're tolerant. And we're hung like moose.
Canadian moose during mating season.
Very Canadian.
Ah, there's a Canadian for you. Let them take their clothes off and they're happy.
I'm from Canada and I'm wasted.
He always called him that bloody Canadian. Except bloody wasn't exactly the word he used, if you know what I mean.
Quite.
So you're a Canadian pickpocket.
Thief, I think is more accurate.
The good thing about being Canadian, no one gives a shit about us.
I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan.
Did you say Regina?
Canada sucks a dick.
Hey, you're that Canadian guy, right?
Yeah, I'm from Saskatchewan. What's up in Canada, eh?
I shouldn't have mentioned Canada.
You can all just kiss my Canadian ass!
You know, girls, that's just not very Canadian. You got a weird thing for Canadian melodrama.
What a weird thing for girls who say a boot.
Where are you from, anyway? Are you from France or Canada or... I mean, I figured you gotta be French or something because of your accent.
What accent?
I'm from Ontario.
What are you?
Canadian.
No. What do you do? Your work.
You're Canadian? You work in Canadian intelligence? That's all right. I know you do.
I'm not a Canadian.
They don't stamp made in Canada on the behinds of little girls.
Imagine an old bull like me getting himself a little Canadian heifer like that.
Well, what about your girl in, Canada?
She was in Canada. Girls no morals. You know, I don't like that on a girl. It's rough having those kind of relationships. You'll see.
Oh, you know how those Canadian groupies are. Come on now, you know
what?
I didn't...
Don't give me that crap.
What do you expect Canadian women to be like?
Oh, kind of like the scenery. Good to look at, but kind of frostbitten.
I've laid lots of times. Name one. She lives in Canada. Met her at Niagara Falls. You wouldn't know her.
So you're saying you got a chick in Canada?
Yeah, I was dating a Kodiak model.
A Kodiak model?
Yeah, she's technically a model. She was on a tobacco can. And she was born with an extra claw, and let me tell you, she knew how to use it. Canadian bears are wild. Very wild.
Are you a Yank?
I'm Canadian, you asshole.
Almost fucked a Canadian?
Follow this phrase. C-A-N-A-D-A, Canada. Now we're getting somewhere.
The hell you know about Canada?
My father was going to take me on a fishing trip to Canada once.
Yeah?
We didn't go.
Crazy.
I originate from Canada. I guess where that is.
Oh, I know where Canada is. I've been there myself.
Did you like Canada?
Canadians are wonderful people, just that they're spread so far apart.
Have you ever thought of going to Canada to live, I mean?
Well, no, not exactly.
Tell him.
Tell me what?
That idea you had about turning the Gulf fire around 180 degrees and flying off to Canada.
Are you talking about fleeing the country?
Damn right I'm talking about that. I'm talking about Canada or Mexico.
Go to Canada and live with a fucking moose? No way, man. You know, I can't go to Canada, man. You're a coward if you go to Canada.
You still have options, man.
Yeah, well, jail or Canada, and they both suck.
You don't seem to like our Canada.
We going north like we said, to Canada?
No, we can. Not yet.
So I guess we forget about Canada, right?
Fine. Stay here on the island. We are going to Canada.
Canada? Canada is far.
I'm going to Banff, Canada, all right? That's where I'm going.
Are you taking the dog?
And if you're still in town when that ship sails for Canada, I'll fire you.
How the hell are you then? I'm going to Canada.
Well, someone else has the Canadian work ethic.
I've never been in fucking Canada.
We're going to be up in Canada there for 2 weeks, living like pioneers.
Mostly northern Canada. I think.
Why don't you get away?
Get away?
To Canada.
I was just playing with the idea that we might go up to Canada alone.
Canada?
Canada. Let's get lost for about 10 years.
You want to go to Canada?
Canada?
Yeah, let's live in Canada.
The country?
Yeah.
Take a quick drive on up to Canada and legitimize your relationship.
Legitimize?
Get married.
She had luck. She married a Canadian. She now lives in Toronto.
So I take it you're not Canadian?
Only by marriage.
If you want to come up here, we'd be more than happy to help you get accustomed to living here in Winnipeg, including finding a Canadian to marry for your citizenship.
We get to be Canadians. Thrilling, eh?
You'll be Ann Steiner, refugee to Canada.
What do I do in Canada?
Woo her under the moon in the Canadian Rockies.
And phone Papu Uncle in Canada as soon as you land.
I think Canada is a perfect place for a honeymoon.
Martha and I were thinking of taking a little skiing holiday up in the Canadian Rockies.
No! You know something? I don't need you to hold my hand all the way to Canada. I'm quite capable of getting across the border on my own.
I wouldn't bet on it. Anyways, I hear Canada's supposed to be real nice this time of year.
Don't get any ideas. I don't need a traveling companion.
It's a passport, visa, usual drill. We'll work the exfiltration through Canada, debrief you at Langley.
You. Where's your passport issued?
Vancouver. Where were you born?
Toronto. Toronto. Canadians don't pronounce the T.
Some Komite guard is actually gonna know that.
Well, let's face it. You don't have to be Houdini to make it across from Canada.
Is it true that Canada has lax immigration policies for koalas?
You're Canadian.
It's on my passport.
Where's Ray's Canadian passport?
Yes, okay, yes, I took the Canadian passport.
They said immigration didn't require it. It's heading up through Canada.
The Santas always come through Canada. Nobody lives here. It's nice and quiet.
Which way you headed, Jeremiah?
Canada, maybe. I hear there's land there a man has never seen.
Hell, you could end up in Canada on that Green Book son of a bitch.
Canada. She's heading to Canada.
If everything goes according to plan, you'll be in Ottawa Sunday, and the Canadian boys can take it from there.
Then I want you to get onto the Canadian immigration people and tell them legal proceedings are being taken against one of their prospective immigrants.
Shit, we'll be in Canada in 2 days.
Really?
Yeah, that's far away.
She intends to make a crossing into Canada with the help of some of the more disenchanted members of the citizenry.
Then what?
On a mad 3-hour drive to the Canadian border.
You going to Canada? Are you a travel agent? Drive, sucker.
Dear, I seem to have lost my sense of direction. I wonder where we are.
Well, my rough guess is somewhere near the Canadian border by now.
Canadians. Damn border jumpers.
You're the Canadian.
Canada, okay? Our neighbor to the north all of a sudden transformed into that place from whence, like the north wind, terror comes.
I like that. Keep talking. That's
What guards us against Canada?
I guard the Canadian
Mounties, Mounties guard the border. Mountie hats.
Dudley Do Right of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
This is Edgar Millen of the Royal Canadian Police talking to you.
Everybody thinks Canadian Mounties ride horses and rescue ladies from rapids. Mike, they backed locals in Oka in a fight with Mohawks over building a golf course on their burial site.
Devil with the Canadian police and the devil with Canada, too.
I've assigned you to Station C, Canada.
Canadians are always dreaming up a lot of ways to ruin our lives. The metric system, for the love of God. Celsius. Neil Young? You're right, Gus.
Well, I still say we blame Canada.
Blame Canada! Blame Canada! It seems that everything's gone wrong since Canada came along.
The U.S. has declared war on Canada.
Your country needs you. I'm Canadian.
Wretched little man, what indifference. He's a Canadian. Doesn't he realize he's in this too?
I'm going to Canada to enlist.
Canadian Army? What do you want to join that for?
There, and they're fighting already.
You Canadians, I'm told, are the hand-picked best of the best trained army in the world. We'll soon find out about that. You Americans, for the most part, have an entirely different reputation. And remember, my nerves are made of iron. I fought Canadian tin single-handed and left them yelling for help.
I'm a sergeant in the Canadian Army.
Dishonorably discharged Canadian Army.
This is Lieutenant McIntosh of the Royal Canadian Navy.
Well, sir, he's Canadian.
He went north.
Royal Canadian Air Force.
I still do the old Canadian Air Force exercises every morning.
Were you in the service?
Yes, ma'am. Canadian Air Force. 2 years overseas.
I'm off to Canada again.
Canada?
Oh, Ken, you must never return to Canada.
You didn't give the Canadian Pacific a chance.
Well, there she is. There's the border. Everything the other side of them hills is all Canadian territory.
It's Canada.
That's Mohawk land.
Is it true, Professor, you've had reports of landings in other places, in Canada?
Not in Canada yet.
I had no idea Canada could be this much fun.
Now, there's one thing you're gonna have to learn. Oh, Canada.
Our home and native land. True patriots.
What the fuck game are they playing?
I mean, they say it's called O Canada, but I'm pretty sure they're just making it up as they go along.
He drank from the bidet and sang the Canadian national anthem in Spanish.
I can gargle dishwater and fart O Canada at the same time.
Gee, this is great. Now I can tell the boys back in the office I saw Canada.
Canada. The link that joins together these great branches of the human family.
Churchill say that?
Yes, Watson, Churchill.